Greetings viewer, this week you join me aboard the BMW 4 Series, the new 4 Series, the G22. This car has gained a lot of attention, but not necessarily because it does anything particularly innovatively, although it's a very good car, but there's nothing groundbreaking about it. It's just an improvement of the old car. The controversy stems from its grille, which people think is oversized, and that the grille ruins the front-end design of the car. Honestly, I was really unsure if I liked the grille or not. I saw the car months before I finally got to drive it, and I was still unsure. But now, after spending a few days with the car, living with it, I have to admit I really don't mind the grille. It's not my favorite design in the world, and other manufacturers like Audi do a bigger grille better, and it grabs less attention. With that being said, while the grille is a somewhat polarizing design detail, I don't think it's bad or excessively large. And BMW does have cars in its past that had this kind of tall grille that is slanted forward, and it gives the car the shark-like appearance that people associate with BMWs. And I think this is the most shark-like of all new BMWs, to be honest. I really like the look of the G22. I think it is a sexier and, believe it or not, more understated coupe than the 4 Series it replaces. I mean, BMW has clearly modeled it off the larger 8 Series, but I actually prefer this smaller coupe to the larger 8 Series. On this new 4 Series, BMW has done away with the sharp creases and really very defined details. It's all very smooth and sculptural looking without being in your face. Especially, you notice this especially around the side of the car, where there is no longer a very strong character crease running along the length of the car. I like the look of this car, and while the front end is, I'm not sure I love it. I do like the front end, but I love the rear end. The rear three-quarter view, I think, really trumps the larger 8 Series, even though that's technically a larger, more opulent car. And people just stare at this car, and they don't just stare at the front of it. They take the whole car in. The grille grabs their attention, but then they keep looking. And even though many people don't love the grille, I understand why BMW did it. This car will be talked about many years to come. And I really wonder if BMW will give up on this large, imposing grille once the time comes to facelift the G22. I've already seen a few kits that bring the 4 Series look in line with that of the 3 Series. They basically just give it the 3 Series grille. And honestly, I'm not sure it's better. You can beat me with a stick, but I think I prefer the bigger grille. And even with the grille, I really wonder if this is the most successful 3 Series based coupe, which is now called 4 Series, since the original E46, especially the facelifted E46 two-door. I think that looked better than the E92 and the previous 4 Series. But now, I like this car so much, especially from the side and the rear three-quarter, that I think it challenges the E46 for sheer beauty. I think the E46 has aged amazingly well, and even though you see a lot of rickety ones around that were not taken care of, and they are rusty, and they have mismatched wheels, and they clearly have not been looked after, but when you see an E46, especially a coupe that is in mint condition, you do stop and stare. Obviously, time will tell just how successful this design is and how well it will age. Because, for instance, other BMWs that people thought were ugly when they were new ended up being fan favorites. and I'm talking about the E65 series. Oh, how people raved on about the polarizing design with the swept-back headlights and the weird rear end. Oh, how people mocked the Bangle era, although the 7 Series from that era is still not very pretty. But now, when you see a 5 Series, an E60, if it's in good condition, it still looks really good. Okay, enough talk about the design. What else should you know about this car? Well, this example that I'm driving today, sadly, is the 420D xDrive. It is one of the 2 base engines available for the new 4 Series, the other being the 420i. This car has 190 horsepower that is delivered at exactly 4,000 RPM, and the peak torque of 400 Newton meters comes in between 1750 and 2500 RPM. This car is also a mild hybrid, so it has an ISG, an integrated starter generator, which basically replaces the starter motor, the conventional starter motor, with one that also acts as a generator. And it can also spin the engine, so it essentially ever so slightly increases efficiency and performance. The rear-wheel drive 420D sprints to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.1 seconds. Opt for xDrive, and that is increased to 7.4 seconds. Top speed is also affected by xDrive, dropping from 240 kilometers per hour to 238. And there is also a weight penalty, obviously. So a normal base 420D without the xDrive tips the scales at 1,605 kilos. Add xDrive, and that is increased to 1,670 kilos. The trunk is about average for the class, smaller than the Audi A5s, but larger than the Mercedes C-classes, with a maximum quoted load volume of 440 liters. I've been fortunate enough to drive several versions of the 3 Series with which this car shares its underpinnings, and it's similar mechanically. And they do feel very nice and sporty, and even the wagon, although I did test the 320D xDrive wagon, and I complained that it felt a bit sluggish. This doesn't feel sluggish, although with only 190 horsepower, it's not going to set your heart racing, especially in a straight line. Through the corners, it might be a different story. We're heading to a twisty road, as usual, where I'm going to throw it into a few corners. This example is a very well-spec'd example with M Sport pack, adaptive dampers, laser headlights, the Harman Kardon sound system. And I didn't get the exact spec sheet for this particular example that I'm driving because I forgot to ask for it. But based on past experience, this probably has about 20,000 euros of options on it. In Romania, a base 420D starts at 47,360 euros. If you want xDrive, that is just shy of 50,000. So I imagine the car that I'm driving today is probably close to 70,000. But honestly, for that kind of money, I would just buy a more powerful engine. And I don't think you have to go for the full-blown M440i, because that's a bit overkill for some people. And it doesn't even sound that good since they've been forced to fit it with a gas particulate filter. So it's considerably more muffled than the B58 you know and love. Sure, you can get aftermarket solutions to enhance the sound and make it sound like older BMWs with the B58. But honestly, as a day-to-day car, a daily, I would just get the 430i. Although it doesn't feel quite as torquey and muscular as this diesel, obviously. The big difference, aside from this car being a bit lighter than any 3 Series, is also its center of gravity, which is around 2 centimeters lower. And that may not sound like much, but it does have a noticeable impact. I also feel the steering, which is a bit sharper. Even in its dullest guise, the 420D is the dullest version of 4 Series that you can buy. This car is still undeniably fun to drive. Before I end this review, I still need to drive this car on the twisty bit of road, which we are now finally approaching, because as I've said in other previous videos, Bucharest is not blessed with many driving roads within easy reach. And this road that I often come to is not a driving road, although it does have a few decent corners. Okay, we're on said road, so I'm going to put the car in sport, the gearbox also in sport. Speaking of the gearbox, I think I forgot to mention that you can no longer buy the 4 Series with a manual gearbox. You can still get a 3 Series with a 6-speed stick shift for the 318D and the 320D, but the 4 Series is only available with this 8-speed. Okay, back to corners. When you put the car in sport, it also pumps some sort of fake engine noise through the speakers. It's not annoying, but I honestly prefer Kia's solution. For instance, I drove the Kia Stinger 2.2-liter diesel, and that also pumped engine noise through its speakers. However, that was kind of a Subaru Boxer engine noise, and this is just more of a drone. Man, this thing really grips. I was going way too fast there. This is super fun. I'm happy the road is quite dry today, and it's well above freezing. It's like 5 degrees. Man, this thing grips. I'm impressed. This is quite a different beast to the 3 Series. Just driving it around, it feels really similar. But throwing it into a few corners, ooh, I'm going to turn around and do that again. Okay, we're back at this set of bends. I'm going to tackle them in the other direction. Man, this is such a rewarding car to drive. And what makes it feel especially nimble is just how willing it is to rotate. It doesn't feel like it's going to understeer, even when you're at the limit of grip. And you do hear the tires start squealing a little bit. And this car predictably feels like it has more mechanical grip than this engine would challenge. What I'm basically trying to say is the chassis feels understressed. It just feels like it can take this power with no fuss at all. Very accomplished chassis. To sum things up, I think this is a great looking, great handling, nice to be aboard of. I didn't talk about the interior, but it's the same as in the 3 Series, but with larger frameless doors that you notice and they feel special. This seatbelt butler that brings you the seatbelt, so you don't have to reach too far back to get it. Although, to be fair, it does feel a bit flimsy, and when you pull on the seatbelt, it moves around. It looks like it's gonna break. Currently, this car is a unique proposition in its segment, and it will probably only be challenged once an all-new Mercedes C-Class coupe is launched. Until then, if you really like this car, you don't even have to test drive its rivals. The C-Class is an aging car. It's still a good car, but it doesn't feel as cutting edge as this 4 Series. And the Audi is not a driver's car. That leaves the Lexus RC. I've not driven one of those, sadly, but I've heard that it is hindered by its weight. It weighs like over 1.8 tons because Lexus added the extra bracing for the convertible car into the coupe as well, even though it didn't need it. I'm not sure what that is about, but it means that car is 100 kilos heavier than it should be. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, yada yada yada. Thanks for watching and take care. Bye.